Just making sure that the Discord link works. Yep, it does. Just making sure my setup is all right now, since I'm streaming from a new place today. Streaming from the office, one of the rooms in the office right now. No longer working from home today. All right, it's right about 12 noon on Wednesday. It's September 9th. Welcome to AI4I Live session number 7 already. It's Ask Me Anything. With me, of course, Ishan as usual. Actually, next week we're looking to bring in someone who a Singaporean who actually moved to US and worked in the data industry as a data scientist. And he was looking to contribute what he can back to Singapore. So we might actually bring him and do some kind of interview maybe next week during the AI4I live session. Yeah, we're still trying to get the logistics done on that one. Yep. Okay, so welcome. Welcome. Oh. Let's check. Yep. Looks good. So we have one question today that was submitted on Google Forms. The Google Forms link, I believe it should also be in the YouTube description. If not, let me check it out. Let me just make sure that the link is in the YouTube description. YouTube. Actually, it's not there. Yeah, actually, you shouldn't even use this link anyway. Okay, if you have any questions, as usual, just make sure you ask them live, and I'll get right to it. Make sure hopefully I get to see it, and then we'll get it answered ASAP. So we have a little bit of a different setup on the screen. You should be able to see it right now. If you see it and it's your second time here, just let us know what do you think about it. Do you prefer this setup? I think it looks pretty cool with the AI Singapore colors, red and yellow. All right. So the first question we have for today, it was submitted, is on how do we get an entry-level job in AI? I mean, this is a really, really common question we get. Also, really, really common question that pops up in our Discord, the AI4I AI Singapore Discord, which if you haven't joined already, you should definitely go check that out. The Discord, you can join it in the description, video description, the stream description on YouTube. You can use the QR code above. Make sure you join that. And what are the certificates that can help to get into AI? How do we develop a portfolio in AI from scratch? Thank you. Like the pleasantries at the end with the thank you. Okay, so let's get to the first one. First question, there's a number of questions here. How do we get into an entry-level job? To me, I think from what I've heard from multiple people, the data scientist, assuming that that's what you're working towards, to become a data scientist or a data engineer, they always work with data analysts as well, who are the ones cleaning the data. They are the ones looking at the data and massaging it to get it into a form ready to move on to the next step. And So these kinds of jobs, data analyst jobs, I think these are the ones which are easier to get when you first get into the industry. So I think it's a good idea to look for data analyst jobs in companies with data scientists. This will probably be a good start. Yeah, and then from there you work closely together with the data scientists, and then you move on to that role in the future. Yeah. What kind of certificates can help? One of the things which we at AI Singapore have been working on is AI certification for exactly this problem, for exactly this issue. So we want companies to be able to recognize qualified engineers and qualified people who can contribute to the AI industry in Singapore. And that's why we have this AI certification. You can click on it. Boom. This is the link. I'll paste it right in the chat as well in the YouTube. Right there. And then, yep, this is the AI certification. Application is currently closed, but it's going to open really, really soon in just about 5 days' time. So this certification, you have to go through a technical test. You apply for it. You have some, there's a fee to apply for it. You take a technical test and a panel assessment. And if you're okay, then you get certified. And there's multiple levels of this AI certified engineer. And then these qualifications, they will help you to get something in the industry, in the career-wise, of course. That's the idea. So next up, what else is part of the question? Give me a second. How do we develop a portfolio in AI from scratch? Thank you. So how do you develop a portfolio? So I think that the two easiest ways or two easiest places to develop a portfolio would be on Kaggle or GitHub. So these are two websites. So let's look at both of them. So Kaggle looks like this. I've mentioned it in every single AMA AI4I live session previously, and I'm going to continue mentioning it because it's pretty much the home of data scientists. It's the home of data science. So you go to Kaggle, and right here, you can create notebooks. Notebooks are places where you can run your code. You can write your code, you can run your code, and you can write very nice comments with your code. Yes, and all together, these code with your comments form a notebook. And this is how you prove to your potential employers that, hey, I know my stuff, I know what I'm doing, and you can hire me. Yeah, so that's one of the things that is a really good way, is to just create lots of notebooks. And then if people don't like them, they can upvote them as well. So you can create your notebooks, create a notebook, have some kind of a project that you're doing, look for some data set, or you can even create your own data set, either by web scraping or finding it, or just recording the data yourself. And then do your own project. It could be just data visualization, you do some machine learning. Yeah, as long as you do a good job, then it will definitely be recognized. I think that's one of the things about being in the tech industry, that it's so meritocratic, right? People, all your work that you can do is being shown right out there, and employers directly see what you can do. If they like it, they can hire you. That's what I like about it. All right, so that's that. So if you don't know how to use Python yet, make sure you learn to use Python. It's all in our AI4I live. It's all in our AI4I, AI for industry syllabus. First thing is Python. So that's that. All right. Besides Kaggle, there's also GitHub. So make sure you get familiar with GitHub. GitHub is a great place. It's a place where you can share your code with other people, where you can host your code. You can put up your code. You create projects. You can look at other people's code. And you can collaborate on software projects. Yes, so that's that. What else? Oh, people have been starting follow me and do stuff with my code, with my repositories. So how GitHub works is that you see it's like this. You can go explore, I guess. You go to explore. So you see Sun Zhongzheng, right? /music. That means this user, Sun Zhongzheng, he has a repository called music. Repository is just like a project. It's a project called music. So we click on it. It's a Chinese guy. And then you can see it's a project. And you can read all this. If you are better at Chinese than me, then you can read all this and understand it and look at the features, blah, blah, blah. Right? One of the great things about GitHub is that it allows you to write your own code and then request and how do I put this? You can collaborate with others in writing writing projects, in making features for new projects. So for example, you see some bug in their code. So this is all their code. These are the folders, and then blah blah blah. You can see, for example, the package.json. This shows you all the different packages, JavaScript packages that this project depends on. You need to install these packages in order to run this project, run this software. Okay. So if you see something that you want to add on, you can collaborate with him, and then they can review your contribution and they can merge it into their software project. So GitHub is a really cool place. I really suggest you spend some time to learn how to use it. And of course, that's other people's projects. To create your own project, you go to plus on the right side, new repository. The repository is just like a bucket of all your files. It's just a project. You type your name, type some project name, and then you create it. And then I won't go through too much more detail, but then basically this is how you do it. So you create a project, then you put all your whatever project, data science related project files inside here, right? Yes. All right, so that is what I have. So once you develop your portfolio of notebooks on Kaggle or your projects on GitHub, so how do you even do these projects, right? You follow tutorials online, you look at tutorials online, how to do different things, you figure out something you're interested in, then you apply the tutorial to the area you're interested in. You have a project, right? It can be simple, don't need to be too complicated, especially for entry level. They don't expect you to be able to shoot the moon, right? So in your resume cover letter, you should point out to the prospective company. Make sure you point them to your portfolio or profile, be it the link on your Kaggle profile or your GitHub profile link. Make sure you put it into your resume or cover letter when you're applying for tech jobs. You should also contribute to. You can also contribute to Kaggle. Yeah, Kaggle also has a discuss area where you can discuss about data set, discuss about all sorts of things related to data and data science. All right, then lastly, I think it's really good to join the Discord to connect with the community. We also discuss careers in data in our Discord. We're also looking towards maybe we'll do job postings directly on our Discord. So be sure to join that community. It's right above my head up there. You can use that QR code. All right. Okay, so make sure, again, if you have any other questions, just put them right into the YouTube chat. If you are not watching on YouTube, you're watching from the forum or from Discord, make sure you click right on the link itself. Click on the title of the video It'll bring you to YouTube where you can join in the chat. Okay, if not, let's gonna go on to code together with data camp exercises. If you have been going about your AI for Industry course, which is from Learn AI, you go into AI for Industry, whichever batch you are registered in. Latest batch is AI4I, Foundations in AI. If you're in the previous batches, you click on whichever batch is applicable. John Go just sent a question to Google Forms. Please do not send your question to Google Forms while I'm live, because I usually don't check it while I'm live. You should put it right into the chat, YouTube chat. But since you did tell me that you just told me that you sent it to Google Forms, I will check it on Google Forms right now. John Go. Let's see, forms.google. And this is the one. All right. I heard from people in the industry, especially those in business intelligence, that SQL and Tableau is what they use on a daily basis. However, people have mentioned in machine learning or in long-term research or in development, Python is used a lot more. Given the range of tools and languages out there, which are the ones we should focus on the most at the start? Well, I guess it really depends on whether you want to be in business intelligence or you want to be someone doing data analysis and data science. So for those people who are doing some machine learning, they will definitely be using Python on a daily basis. As in they'll be constantly reading and writing Python as part of their daily work. Whereas if you are pulling up data from databases and presenting it to the key business personnel like the CEO and so on and so forth, then SQL and Tableau would probably be more suitable. So definitely, I think both sides are meaningful. Definitely both sides are meaningful to learn. In AI4I, we don't actually teach Tableau. We teach SQL later on at a basic level. And usually what is used is usually SQL at a basic level. So definitely I think both sides are meaningful. You want to definitely know Python if you want to get into data science and machine learning. And if you are more interested in business intelligence, then go for SQL and Tableau. Maybe you won't even need Python, depending on what software the company is using. All right. But again, as if you're using Tableau, then you may want to find other resources other than AI4I. Okay. Hopefully I answered that question. So let me actually put your question right into here. So Python is a necessity for data scientists and data analysis. In AI4I, focuses on Python. All right, let's continue. Yes. Hi everyone, again, if you've just joined us, we are on AI4I Live, session number 7. I've just asked your questions right into the chat on YouTube. If you have anything you want to ask related to the course or related to Python or whatever concept you're not clear about, just ask in the chat. I'll do my best to go through them. not, then we'll learn together at least. And then make sure you join us in the Discord. QR code above my head. And yeah, if you have certain data camp exercises that you are stuck on, just let me know and then we can go through that together as well. If not, then I'm just going to continue from where we left off last week with data camp in pandas, and we were doing data manipulation with pandas. I believe this is one of the the courses referenced in AI for industry. Let's just check that out. So foundations in AI. Foundations in AI, you look at pandas, foundations, manipulating data frames in pandas. Let's see, is it this one or is it pandas foundations? Manipulating data frames in pandas. Data manipulation with pandas. Pandas foundations. Actually, this is not actually. No, it seems like the latest topic doesn't seem to be using this course directly. So actually, let's actually switch to one of the courses that we are using. So let's go to manipulating the data frames with pandas. Let's do this one. Yeah, definitely I want to go through things which you guys are also going through. So, but of course this probably means that some of this I've already gone through it before, so I'll try to speed through that. Manipulating data frames with pandas, blah blah blah. Grouping together. Actually, I feel like I've done this one before. Have I done this before? On stream? Let's see. Ranging and reshaping. No, I don't think I've done this before on stream. So let's do this one. Let's do this one. Okay. As usual, if you already have gone through this, I advise you can spend this time to also do your own data camp exercises wherever you have stopped at. And yeah, do your own data camp exercises. If you come into any problems, then I'm directly here to help. All right. Or you can just follow along with me as I do this, and you can laugh at my mistakes. All right. Of course, I mean, you can also see whenever I make mistakes, how I find out the right answers and how I interpret and understand the questions and what data camp requires of us. Right. So, election. In this exercise, the data frame election is provided. It contains 2012 US election results for the state of Pennsylvania with county names as row indices. Okay, so here we know that this is a data frame. So for those who are still new to Python, of course, data frame is just a type of object, it's a type of information. So it's going to hold a whole table of information, just like an Excel spreadsheet. Let's think of a data frame like an Excel spreadsheet. John Go, you'll be going through debugging and error reading. Actually, you're right. I did mention that I would go through this. Yes, let me spend some time going through debugging and error reading. Maybe later on at 1 p.m. we'll spend some time doing data camp exercises first, and then later on I will do some write some programs, and then we will go through the errors and learn how to read all the errors and fix bugs. Right. Okay. Next. In this exercise, yeah. So for now, we're going to go through data camp exercise. Your job Okay, so data frame is a Python type of information. It holds a table of data. It contains this results with county names as row indices. County names like town names in Singapore. As row indices. Indices is the plural of index. So these are the row indexes. So that remember the indexes, we went through this previously. The indexes are like the addresses for the rows, right? So they allow you to refer to the rows. Right? Your job is to select Bedford County and the winner column. Which method is the preferred way? So I want to select Bedford County and the winner column. So Bedford County would be Bedford here, and then winner column would be winner here. So I think this looks good. So this one, the fifth one, I lock versus lock. So lock is how you locate. You locate certain parts of the data frame using indexes. Whereas iLock is a way of locating, again, lock, right? You see, LOC is locating parts of the data frame using integer indexes. So integer indexes is so for the columns, it'll be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on and so forth. And for the rows, you give each row a integer index. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, so on and so forth. So that's integer indexes. Here, so obviously when you use iLog, here when you want to refer to columns and rows, you need to put integers here, in zeros and ones, or 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. But here you have Bedford and winner, so obviously this is wrong. Bedford and winner are the addresses, and this is the address, row index, row address, and this is the column, winner column. So definitely we're using .loc. Submit answer. Well done. Awesome. So next, we have positional and label indexing. Okay. Given a pair of label-based indices, sometimes it's necessary to find the corresponding positions. This exercise will use section results again. Data frames available for use as election. Okay, so that means that if you click at the bottom right, you can see the left side is the exercise, bottom of that is the instructions you need to do. Top right is your code that you need to fill in, and the bottom right is a shell. Right, so it's a shell where you get to, it's a Python shell, you get to type a equals 5, blah blah, a is 5. You can type whatever Python statements you want in the shell. So if you go to elections, you should be able to find, no, it's not election. So obviously there's a common mistake. So again, let's go through error handling as well. So here, when I type elections, it says trace back most recent call last, file, blah blah blah. So all this is gibberish, all this is nonsense. You don't need to understand this. You shouldn't try to understand it. It's not really important. It is definitely not the most important. The most important by far is the last line. Last line is telling you the name error. It's a name error. So this is the type of error. It's a name error. The name elections is not defined. So within the room of variables that we have access to, our Python runtime, or our Python program has no idea what this word elections means. It has no idea what this word elections means. So, but then this exercise is telling us, hey, data frame is provided for you, right, as election. So there's a contradiction here, right? Obviously, so now we check, hey, this is elections, and actually, hey, here it was provided as election. So I need to type election here. I take election, there I get the whole data frame, right? This is the data frame that is provided to us. Of course, the most usual things that we do for data frame is to get election.hit. Look at the first 5 rows. This first 5 rows is what it looks like. Obama and Romney. Find x and y such that election.ilogxy equals to election.log Bedford winner. So what does that mean? So ilog is, again, remember, we are looking for some part of this data frame where the row is row x and the column is column y, right? And these are integers, these are numbers. Okay. What is the row position? Blah blah blah. Yep. To answer this question, blah blah blah, first explore the data frame using election.hit, and that's what we have done, even without them telling us. Usually you use .hit and you use .info. By the way, John, later we're going to go through some of the debugging. We're going to do an exercise specifically for debugging in error reading. So we'll try and in order to do that, we'll create some kind of a project ourselves, some kind of a short program. Let me know what kind of program you want to create, and then we will do that. Okay. Let's continue on. Okay, we also often do election.info. Election.info. Election.info is really good because it shows us a lot of information. It shows us there's 67 entries. Entries are rows. And we have each column. How many entries are there? All 67 means none of the column none of the columns have missing values. And then we also see the different types of data for each column. Let's continue. Assign the row position of LOC to X. The row position. Row position. How do I get the row position? .loc Bedford. How do I get the row position? Okay, let me just paste this in and see what happens. Okay, it shows me this, blah blah blah. It shows me state, total, Obama, voters. How do I get the row position? How do I get the row position? I have no idea. I might have to take a hint later. Assign the column position. But I know it's got to be something to do with this, right? I know it's got to do with this. That's why I just write this down first. It is definitely not the answer, but it's fine. LOC row position. Okay, and then LOC, this is going to be winner to Y. We gotta take a hint. Let's take a hint. The first position of blah 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 row position of 0. ilog is for positional indexing as opposed to log, which is for label based indexing. Print the Boolean equivalence. How do we get this? Let me think. I don't know. Can submit the answer, but definitely this shouldn't be correct. Yeah. How do I even get the row position to X? This should be an integer representing the row position of Bedford. I have no idea. So let's see. Okay, it says assign the row position. Oh, right. Basically, they wanted us to type in directly 4 and 4. And we were supposed to have deduced that from elections.head or election.head. Is that right? Zero, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is winner. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Bedford, yeah. So Bedford is here, which is the 5th entry. So this is again our data frame. This is our data frame. This is so data frame. So the first row is Adams, right? This is the first row. The first row has an index address of 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So Bedford has an index of 4. Winner again, where we find out its index. So state is the first column. It has an index of 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 4 and 4. So that's that. Yeah. Okay, sure. We'll run the solution. All right. John Go has some questions. Awesome. John Go has some questions. What is the meaning of immutable? So let's show you right now. So immutable is basically telling you that some types of data, they can't be changed. They can't be changed. Yeah. So, and I think the most common times when you see the terms immutable in Python would be number one, when you're trying to assign a key to a dictionary. So I'll give you an example. So this is a dictionary, right? This is an empty dictionary. You do typed, you do this, you see it's a dict, which is a dictionary. So if you do dictionary, normally we do, for example, like this, and then 1, 2, 3. So now we have dictionary with a key value pair. The key is A, the string A, and the value is 1, 2, 3. The 1, 2, 3. So that's all fine. But what if you try to make a list as a key, right? 1, 2, 3 gives you 1, 2, 3, and you do that. Gives you it says unhashable type. Actually, no, it doesn't say immutable. It says unhashable. Yeah. So actually, yeah, immutable doesn't show up here. Immutable does show, I believe, when you look at the differences between a list versus a tuple. So a list versus a tuple. List is like this, 1, 2, 3, and then a tuple is like this, 1, 2, 3. Right. So if we type type of 1, 2, 3, it says tuple, right? Which shows us the type tuple. So I'll assign this 1, 2, 3 tuple to top. And if I try to change the value of if I try to assign 1 to the first item in tuple, it will say, hey, type error. Again, I ignore all of these first few lines in the error and look at the last line immediately. Type error. Tuple object does not support item assignment. Means I cannot assign this value to part of the tuple. I cannot assign it to part of the tuple. Right? I can't assign it to part of the tuple because it's immutable. I can't change the tuple after it's been created. Yep. So that's immutable. You can't change the value after it's been created. That's the idea of immutable. To be honest, it's more of something that you just come across and you just roughly need to know. It's not a super important concept. You don't really need it in too many other places unless you're going deep into advanced Python stuff. Alright, Number 2, hierarchical column labels. Hierarchical column labels. What is a hierarchical column label? Hierarchical column labels. I think you're talking about pandas. Hierarchical indexing? No. I think what you're talking about is something like this, right? Where you have multiple column labels, right? And this normally comes about when you do a group by, right? When you do a group by, so we do a pandas group by. So let's show that. You do pandas group by, you end up with something where but actually usually group by gives us the hierarchical row labels. Hierarchical column labels. Could you specify the context in which you are finding this, John Go? Yeah, the context of this hierarchical column labels. It's also possible to have hierarchical column labels, I guess, in pandas from other methods. It's just like you have multiple column labels. There's different levels of column labels. And each of them is indexes to the columns, but they're just different levels of indexes. So just like just now how we saw, in this case, we have hierarchical row labels here. The first level here is we have falcon and parrot, and then we also have captive and wild as another level of the row labels. So it's just the same as if you do it on the columns. If you have multiple columns here, there can be multiple columns within one index, and at a lower level, you have more columns, more indexes. Yes. Generally, it's not super important also, I guess, having this. You just need to roughly know, you need to know how to access the different, you need to know how to access the different columns. Right? And where am I? Yeah. You need to know how to access the different columns when you have multiple levels of columns. Yeah. And I believe this is also part of some of our data chem exercises. I think I've gone through it in previous week as well. Your third question is, what is the meaning of loop? So loop in Python again is how you use the most common loop in Python is the for loop. So to do a for loop, you type something like this, right? So if you can understand this piece of code, then you can understand loops. You can understand loops, yeah. And you can understand the for loop at least, which is the most important loop. The for loop is the most important loop. Second loop, which is important, is the while loop. Okay, so for loop here, how do you even type the for loop in the shell? That's the first question, right? First, if I type, sorry, I just clicked something wrong. So here, if I do for I in range 5, and I do a colon, I press enter, it gives me an error. So let's not be afraid of this error again as usual. The part at the top is actually telling you where the error was found, right? So you can see roughly, hey, this part of your code, there was an error found at the end of it. Okay, it says, then we read the last line, which is again the most important line in the errors. We have the syntax error. This is a syntax error. Syntax means grammar, right? Your computer is a grammar Nazi, and if you have something wrong in your grammar, it will say, I don't understand you. Please fix your grammar before you talk to me. Right, and here there's a syntax error. Unexpected EOF while passing. Unexpected EOF. I believe EOF is end of file. End of file. So what is this file they're talking about? So this code that you have, they consider it the file. So there's an unexpected end while passing. What is passing? Passing is reading. To pass means to read. Computer to read. So while the computer is reading your code, they met an unexpected end. They expected something else after your code. Yeah. So what did they expect? After you have a loop, you need to have a after you have a loop. So after you have a loop like this, for I in range 5, print I. So after you have a loop, you need to have an indentation. After you have the loop, you need to have an indentation, and then you have some stuff here. But here we have no indentation. We have no second line in the indentation. So unexpected end of file, right? So that's that. How do I type it? So I need to do Shift Enter for I in range 5, colon, Shift, hold Shift, press Enter, and it gives you this second line to type in. I do space to provide the indentation. I do space, and then now we will do whatever you want to do, whatever instruction you want to do that is inside the loop. This is inside the loop. So inside the loop, we're going to do print I. Okay. Inside the loop, we're just going to do print I. Print is to show something to the screen. Here it says for I in range 5. So what is happening here? For I in range 5, there's a for loop, and this is the item that we are looping over. This is the object that we are looping over. This phrase looping over is very, very common, so you have to understand it. Okay, so when you are looping over range 5, that means we are looking at this range 5. This range 5 has to have some number of objects inside it, multiple objects inside it. Yeah, it needs to be something that you can loop over, some type of object you can loop over. Okay, and for each item, each element inside this range 5, we will do the instructions one time. This is crucial. For each element inside range 5, we will do the instructions one time. So how many items are there inside range 5? Well, what is even range 5? Range 5 is a range object. You can convert it to a list object, which makes it clearer. Range 5 is pretty much 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it has 5 items in range 5. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 5 items. It will do these instructions 5 times. The first time, it will assign the first item. It will use the first item when we loop. Okay? The first item will be known as I. So it will print the first item, which is 0. Yeah, first item 0. Second time we loop, the second item will be I, which is why we print I, and now it becomes 1. And so on and so forth. If you understand this, then you understand loops, and you understand the main difficulty of how people... I think that's the most important thing that you need to get used to in Python. This is the for loop. It's the most important thing. Yeah, really important. Glad you asked about it. Yeah, and hopefully you can begin to understand it. I know for me myself, it took me a long time because I don't come from programming background. I studied accounting. It took me a long time to wrap my head around how this for I in range 5 works. So for like the first 1-2 months of my learning Python, I was just typing this line in like Notepad or something, in like Notepad, and then running it as a Python script, and like trying to grok how it works. To grok means to understand it at a basic level, to understand it at your very core, right? To internalize how it works. So that's looping. That's looping, for loop. While loop is not that important. Not that important, and you can learn about it yourself. Yeah. We have another question, which is, in this case, with the user's data frame, both visitors and signups will be pivoted. Visitors and signups will be pivoted, seen in DataCamp, creating hierarchical column labels. Yep. So hierarchical column labels, exactly same as what I mentioned just now. So there are levels of column indexes. Let's see if Pandas has some examples of this. Pandas multi-level indexing. Okay. Okay, here we have one example. It's quite small. Let me zoom it in. Okay, here we have a data frame here with hierarchical columns, hierarchical column levels, right? Hierarchical column labels, yeah. So one level of column indexing is here, bar. So bar refers to this column plus this column. Bars refers to this column plus this column. Foo refers to this column plus this column. Cux is this column plus this column. And within bar, there's another level that you can index. There's another column label, which is 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So multiple levels of indexing. That's what we're trying to say by hierarchical column labels. Yeah. All right, let's continue. Thanks for your questions. Good questions. So import pandas, you always import pandas as PD. Let's see if anyone else in the Discord has said anything. Nope. Okay. Election results. No results here. Read in the file name and set the index election. So how do you read in the file name? So we're going to do pd.read csv as per the instructions. Okay, so the instruction says read in the file name using this. Using this means we have to call this function. Call the function, we just type in the function. Make sure you have the parentheses. So the parentheses here, here, and here. And everything inside are the arguments, the inputs to the function. So that's a file name as the input. Next, index equals to county. Index call equals to county. Yes, index column equals to county. So what is this meaning? Wait, why does this have two equal signs? Yeah, there shouldn't be two equal signs. So it should be index underscore call equals to county. And then now we have create a separate data frame with the columns winner, totals, voter, results. Okay, so we're going to call this results. Separate data frame. So election, and we're just going to filter out just these three columns. So how do I filter out multiple columns? One way is you have your election.results. Yeah, you have your election. Why am I saying election.results? No, you have your election, and then you have your square bracket here. So this square bracket here, inside it, what you want to have is a list. There's a list of the columns that you're interested in. So we're going to do winner, total, voters. So we have your square bracket here, which is telling you you want to get a subset. You want to get some items out from election. So what items do you want to get out of election? You want to get a full list of columns out of them. You want to get winner, total, and voters. Right, looks good. Results.hit. Print it out. Yeah, looks good. Let me see if I can change the settings on my... That's fine. Okay, let's continue on. Slicing data frames? No. Got it? Okay. Yeah, I noticed that I'm spending more time on pandas, but because it's really, really important. It's one of the most important things because it's how you work with tabular data in Python. Yep. Okay. So we have P counties. Slice the row labels Perry to Potter and assign the output to P counties. What are they talking about? So how do you slice row labels? You slice the row labels by election and then Perry to Potter. I think this should work. If not, then we may have to do .loc. We have to try. Let's try this. This works. So Perry colon Potter means from Perry all the way to Potter. Give me all of the counties. Perry, Philadelphia, Pike, Potter. So alphabetically. Alright, so we have that. And then we want to print P counties data frame. P counties REV in reverse. Okay. So we just need to reverse it. Right. In reverse order. I think we can just do the other way around. Potter to Perry. I'm not sure if we can though. Let me copy and paste this into our shell to see if it works. So notice that this is one of the things I'm doing. Yeah, if you're not sure whether something works in your script, you can always copy and paste it into the shell. Check it out. So if I do election Potter to Perry, of course, it says it's empty data frame. So obviously it means that I can't do this. It's looking from Potter onwards and it can't find Perry. So what we need to do is go back to election Potter to Perry and then let's see what else you can do. Oh, it says -1. Step size -1. To do this for hypothetical row labels, you can use a -1 like so. This is generally not very used very often. Okay, but anyway, let's do this. Potter to Perry. So I'm just following here the instructions here. So let's read and understand the instructions together because I know I can understand them, but maybe you can't understand them. So as new programmers, slice the row labels Potter to Perry in reverse order. So slice them means we want to get we want to extract some row labels Potter and then Perry from all the way from Potter to Perry in reverse order, blah blah blah. To do this for the row labels A and B, just as an example, you can use this, right? df.lc like this. So now we just need to follow the same example. B to A is just like Potter to Perry, same. And then we have to do a colon -1. Okay, colon -1. Looks good. Alright, so we just submit the answer and we're golden. To be honest, I don't think this is used very often. Yeah, but that's good to know. Slicing columns. Okay, slicing columns. Let's do that. Left columns. Slice the columns from the starting column to Obama and assign them to the result left columns. So election .loc. We can do nothing to Obama. Okay, I believe this should work. Right, then we can show this together. We can try this together. Oh, this doesn't work. Oh, of course I need to have a colon here. Yep, so this now works. And if we want to just not have to scroll so far, we can do head as well. So up, I just press up to get what I previously typed, the previous thing that was entered. So I do .head, and it shows me the first 5, which is exactly what I want. I want all the left columns up to Obama, correct. So this is correct. Election.loc, this. So LOC, when we use LOC, we always use a square bracket. Square bracket, inside it, we specify which rows we want and which columns we want. Which rows do we want? We want all of the rows. All of the rows, which is why we start from the first to the last. To start from the first to the last, we don't have anything before the colon and we don't have anything after the colon. So we just have a colon to say we want all the rows. Then which columns do we want? We want from the first column, which is why we omit anything before the colon, up to Obama. So Obama will be the last column. So it'll be anything from the first, from the left up to Obama, which is exactly what we want here. Perfect. Let me see if there's some other ways to do it. So when we do up, I might be able to do this. Yeah, this also. Oh, this doesn't really work. Let's see. Can I do like this? Like this? No. No, this doesn't work. Yeah, so this will be the good way to do it, I guess. This will be a good way to do it. So LOC, colon here to say we want all the rows, then we want all the columns left of Obama from the start up to Obama. Okay. Next we have middle columns. Middle columns. Middle columns. From Obama to winner. Same thing. If you follow the same concept, we do election.loc. Colon to Obama to winner. So now we want to start at Obama. Here again, I put the colon here because I want all the rows, comma, Obama to winner. So start from Obama, end at winner. So these are the middle columns. These are the middle columns. Okay. And again, right columns, we're gonna do the same thing. Election.loc. Again, I want all of the rows. Then I want to start from Romney. Typo here again. Romney colon, and at the end, I will omit. So it's just Romney and then colon. Okay. So Romney colon. Romney colon means up to all the way up to the end. Okay. So now we just submit our answer. Looks good. Okay. Sub-selecting data frames with lists. Yes, I think we actually did this just now. Okay, create a list of row labels. These are the rows that we want. Okay, we create a list of column labels. Winner, Obama, Romney. These are the columns. Create the new data frame, 3 counties. create new data frame by selecting with rows and columns, right? Sure. So we're gonna do election dot loc, and then the rows will be rows, columns will be columns. And print three counties. Sure, that works. We'll submit our answer right here. For those who have just joined us, welcome to AI4I Live, session number 7, where I answer all your questions about AI4I, Python, Pandas, sklearn, whatever's taught in AI for industry, and anything else that is related to that. So feel free to ask your questions right in the YouTube chat, or just say hi. Okay, so submit your answer here, and we're done. Next, going on, we want to threshold our data. Create a Boolean array of the condition where the turnout column is greater than 70. Assign it to high turnout. So a Boolean array greater than 70. And included, okay, so in this exercises, we have given us the election results with a column called turnout. Okay, so let me just check that out. Election.hit. So we have turnout. Okay, turnout. And the values are like this. Okay, sure. Select all the rows and columns where voter turnout exceeded 70%. So we're gonna create election. So how we do this is election turnout more than 70. I believe this is right, and we'll call it high turnout. So this creates a Boolean array. What is Boolean? A Boolean is either true or false. A Boolean is a type of information which is either true or false. There's only two values, true and false. Yes, so that's a Boolean. What is an array? Array is like a list. So it's like a list of true and falses. So this would, it will, if we look at this, if we actually copy and paste this, you can see that it's actually just a list of true and false. False, 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 false. Some true, true, true. False, false, false. True, true, true. False, false, false. So that's a Boolean array. We can use this true and falses to filter out our data frame. So wherever it's true, those will be kept in. Wherever it's false, these will be filtered out. All right, so filter the election, print the filtered data frame. Okay, filter the election, yeah, sure. So now we do election and then high turnout. Yes, and then you can submit the answer. It's good, awesome. You can also see here, become a power user, submit your answer with Ctrl+Shift+Enter. Yeah, we can do that later on as well. Okay. Filtering columns using other columns. Filtering columns using other columns. Import NumPy. Let's do the first things first. Import NumPy as NP. This is how we always import NumPy. NumPy is a library which has a lot of ways to work more easily with numbers and arrays. In Python, which is where the pi comes from, and num, of course, is numbers. Okay, so create a Boolean array for the condition where the margin column is less than 1 and assign it to close. Same thing as what we did just now. Election margin less than 1. Less than 1. convert the entries in the winner column where the result was too close to call to np.nan. So this will be election dot too close will be np.nan, and we're done. So this is how you subset the data frame, right? You can again put the condition here. Put the condition into the square brackets. Press enter. All right, we're done with that. Oh, actually, it's already 1:10 p.m. I promised John Go we are going to go through an exercise to look at debugging and error reading errors. Right. So let's start with that. Okay. So let's say I want to do a program. Let's go about this in a way where we try to write a basic program, and along the way I'm sure we'll encounter errors. Okay, so this program will be a program to tell me what the date is. Tell me what the date is, and whether it's a holiday. Okay, whether it's a holiday. Okay, so first thing I need to do is actually there's any order you can do this in any order you like. Okay. So we're gonna write a program that tells us the date and the current date, whether it's a holiday, and whether it's a holiday. Yep, perfect. So what do we need to do here? We need to do so when you have such a project, right? We have a project at hand. How do you go about doing it? So one of the things that I like to do is I like to put down all the different parts that I know I will need. All the things that I know I will need, I'll just put them there first, and then I will put them in their right places later on. Okay, so I need to know what's the current date. I definitely need to know what's the current date. Well, how do I find out what's the current date? So let's say I try to. So now let's say I don't know how to find out what's the current date. Okay, I'll Google find current date Python. Hey, so now it says here from datetime, import datetime, print datetime.now. Okay, so let's do that. So if I paste this and then I run this, no, okay. So let's say I paste this. Okay, I run this. So to run it, you can do Control Alternate N, I think, which should be a default. It shows us date time. Right, it shows us a date time. It shows us actually the current date time, which is this is the date, and currently it's 1 p.m., 1:12 p.m., and these are the seconds, right? These are the seconds. Okay. So we have one part of it. We know the current date. What other parts do we need to know? We need to know whether it's a holiday. How do I tell whether today is a holiday? Okay, so we can find out with Singapore public holidays. So these are the public holidays. These are the public holidays. These are the public holidays indeed. Yep. Okay, copy, and then we will paste it in here. For now, we will just paste it in like that. Obviously, if we paste it in like that and we try to run our program, what will happen is that, wait, oh, of course I haven't saved it yet, so I need to save it and then run it. And then when I run it, it should give me an error. Yeah, it gives me a syntax error. So in our syntax error, let me make this a little bit smaller. So it gives me an error here. It says syntax error New Year's Day. So obviously it's because this is not proper Python code. So what I can do is just highlight the whole thing, hold Control in VS Code, and press the question mark button, which will turn this all into comments. Right? I know I'll need this information later, but I just want to keep it here first. So I just put it there and I'll save it. Okay, so now it says I have datetime.now. Okay, let's say I misspell something here. Then I try to run this. Okay, now we get another error. We get a new interesting error. It says traceback. Traceback is telling us where our error is found. So it says this is the line our error is found at. From datetime, import datetim. Okay, so maybe you have sharp eyes, you can see it's datetim. Maybe something is wrong here. It says import error. Import error tells us the type of error. It tells us the import error. There's something wrong with the import. You can't import something. It cannot import datetim from datetime. So clearly there's an error here. So I type, what if I don't understand this? What I can do is I can copy and paste it into Google. So I'll show that. So I'll paste it in. So can't import. So I can't import. It says can't import. So I paste it in and look at the first result, and it says can't import datetime. Okay, and then I check whether, so this is Stack Overflow. This is a place where developers answer developers' questions, other developers' questions. The question is on top here. So I read the question, check whether it's the same situation as mine. Seems like no, it's not the same situation as mine. Different situation as mine. It doesn't get the same error. Yep. Okay, so next I look for others. I cannot import. And also I noticed that date time here, datetim is particular for my script, right? So a more generalized version of this error is just like this, right? Is it cannot import something, cannot import name something from something. I cannot import name X. Yeah. So this is what I have. Cannot import name X. So let's look at, we click on the first result again and see whether this is applicable. Scroll through, cannot import name ENT. He says I have circular dependent imports. Blah 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 is importing from this, blah 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 is importing from this. Yeah, so I can't, this is not the same issue here. Okay. What again I can do is go back to my code. Go back to my code, which is here. And then what I can do is try and copy paste from somewhere that I know it works. So from Google it works, right? Just now I went to Google, get current datetime Python. I know this works, so I copy and paste it from here again. From here I copy and paste it again. And then I check whether it works. So now I try. And now it works. It works again. Okay, so because there's a typo here, and I didn't even need to know there's a typo here. I just copy and paste it back again to fix the bug, right? So one way of fixing the bugs is again to copy and paste from somewhere where you know it works. Next thing I want to do, let's continue with our project here, is to let's say I only want to get the date. Right, this gives me date time.now. It shows me this date in a weird format, really weird format. It gives me the time also. I don't need the time. So how do I get the date? Get current date only in Python. Get today's date. Yep, let's see. I get today's date. Okay, you can do you can use strf time. Right, so now we try to click on this and see what is the, how do you use this? Okay, we copy and paste. I'm not so sure how to use, let's say I'm not so sure how to use this. I copy and paste the code first. Copy and paste the code. See what happens. Paste the code in here. And then I will run the code. Control Alt N. It gives me this. It gives me year, month, day. Okay, so let's say I want to give it in a nicer format, like 9 September 2020. So I will look at this and it says, hey, if I do this code, it will give me this. If I do this code, it will give me this. So the month as a full name will be it's pretty small, but it says here is %B. So %B, we'll just put %B, yeah. %B, and then this dash here, it appears here. So we will remove the dashes. I want to have a comma, like 9 September. How do I get the number 9? How do I get the number 9? Day of the month, yep, this is the day of the month. As a 0 padded number. I don't want it to be a 0 padded number. Day of the month as a decimal number. Yeah, so I think that this should be the one. So day of the month. So this one should be good. Oh no, year, I want to be here. In fact, let's just use this one. Day of the month as a 0 padded number. Okay. Control Alt N, and we get 9 September. Okay, let's not have the 0 there. It looks ugly. Oh, so this doesn't work. Day of month. Day of the month. I don't want the. So okay. So again, now I see there's an error. Sorry, my automatic reaction is to immediately fix it, but I should go through the error first. So now we do this, and there's an error here. It says value error. Again, here there's a traceback, all this nonsense. We don't look at it. Only thing you want to look at, if you really want to look at something, is the line. So line something. This is where the error occurred. So here you can go back to your program, line number 5. It says line 5 here. Line 5 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Line 5 here, there's an error here. So it says value error, invalid format string. So this is a format string. This is not valid. This is not valid. So how do I make it valid? I want to make it as string f time Python. Okay. Time the string. I scroll down, try to look for something which is a decimal number. Yeah, I thought this would work. but it doesn't seem to work. This doesn't seem to work, huh? Yeah, it says invalid format string. Day without leading 0. So you just Google and look for it, same thing. Day without leading 0. On Windows, you use this. Right. So you just copy and paste. And then we're golden. So here, just control. And now we have 9 September 2020. Perfect. Exactly what we want. So we have the first part of the program. It tells us the current date. And now we want to tell us whether it's a holiday. Right? Whether it's a holiday. So whether it's a holiday or not is a true or false statement, correct? It's either a holiday or it's not a holiday. There can't be a in-between holiday or a half holiday. Okay, I wish every day was half holiday, but unfortunately not. So, yes, we have a list of holidays here. How do I check that whether this current day is in these holidays? One of the other ways I can check is to Google, right? To Google whether there is some kind of a resource that lets me do this. So, for example, Singapore holidays API. List of public holidays, okay? It's a CSV, okay? It's a CSV. Okay. Okay, so now we have something to work with. Now we have something to work with. So let me download this CSV file. Yes, sure. Sure. I'll bring this down over here. Drag it over here. Okay, never mind. Instead of doing that, why not I just do copy here and paste it here? Yes, can I do that? Yes, okay. Okay. Is this helpful? I think this is helpful. This is helpful, right? This is helpful. What we can do now is just to so now we need to think how do we use this information? How do we use this information? I don't care about this day of the week, right? I don't care about this day of the week. I want to remove it. Okay, let me see I can save this or not under something else. Holidays.csv. Okay, I'll replace all of these with commas. Perfect. So what I just did here is here I select this tab. You see this space, this big space here? It's not actually a space, it's a tab. So I press tab, you'll get this. So this tab, I'm going to select it, then I hold Control, press D in VS Code. That selects the next exact same thing, which is the next tab. Then I just do this continuously until I get all the tabs. Then now I have them all selected, I press comma. I replace all of them with a comma. Now I have a nice CSV file to work with. Okay, Now I have a nice CSV file to work with. Now I'll import this CSV. Import CSV. Okay, so now let's try to import the CSV. How do we import the CSV? Let's Google again. Import CSV Python. Import file using pandas. Yeah, we can import using pandas, why not? In fact, that's one of the things I often do, to actually import CSVs using pandas, because it's just more convenient than using the actual CSV module itself. There is a import CSV, but often it's just better to use pandas to import CSV. Alright, so we have import pandas as PD. Then now we will do pd.readCSV as usual, holidays.csv, because it's in the same folder here. We can just directly do holidays.csv, and we'll call this df. Okay. And then now I want to make this into a list. No, I want to make this into a dictionary actually. I want to make this into a dictionary. I want to create a dictionary where all the keys are all the dates. These are all the dates. And then these are all the values. Okay, so I want to, then after that I'll check, hey, is today's date in one of these keys? Is the date one of these keys? If it is, then I will show the value. I'll show, hey, yes, it's a holiday, it's polling day, right? So that's that. Okay, so how do I do that now? We would just create a dictionary. So I know I want to create a dictionary. So what I can do is use a dictionary comprehension. Okay, so I can do holidays equals to a dictionary comprehension here. So let's do a dictionary comprehension together. Let's say I'm going to do... Okay, let's say I type this wrongly. When I do read CSV, I type it wrongly. Let's see what error we get. Because this is about error handling, right? This is found not found error again. Read through the whole thing. It says we check which line the error occurs on. It says line 8. Line 8 is here. It read CSV. There's an error here. Last line, we go to the last line. It says found error. I can't find .cs. I look at my folder. Of course, it's not .cs. It's .csv. So this does not exist. Change this to .csv. Right. So now we have holidays. We're going to write a dictionary comprehension. It's going to be row row 0, I guess. Can I do row 0? To row 2 for row in df.iter_rows. Okay, let me see. Then I'll print holidays and see whether it's successful. I'll do this. Okay, so now it's something is an error here. Okay. In fact, what we can do here is to go into the terminal to play around here. We can play around. So we do Python import pandas as PD. pd.read CSV holidays.csv, assign it to df again. So now we have df. This is our df, this is our data frame. Remember, you can import any CSV as a data frame. So we have our data frame here. And then now I want to do df.iter_rows. We have this df.iter_rows allows us to loop over all our rows in our data frame. Okay, so for row in df.iter_rows, print rows. Okay, so we have this. Of course, right. Iter rows, it gives us, so for each row, right? Each row, right, gives us. Okay, can I do this? I think this works, right? Okay, so what's happening here is you see there's these brackets here, open brackets, close bracket. Each of this is a row right now. So what is the first number? The first number is actually an index. Which row is it? This is the 10th, the row with index 10. And then these are the values in the row. These are the values in the row. So instead of getting both of this, I just want to have the row itself, the row values themselves. So I'm going to put a underscore here to say, hey, I don't need this index here. Let me see if I run this now, does it work? Great, now it works now. Okay, so now I have my holidays as a dictionary. I have my holidays as a dictionary. Okay. I have my holidays as a dictionary. Okay, so now I have my holidays as a dictionary. And I visually look at it, it looks okay. So all the key value pairs, they are basically date in a string and then the name of the holiday. Date in a string, name of the holiday. Okay. So now I have that. So what I need to do now is I will check today's date today equals to date time dot today dot. I'm going to format the time so that it looks like this. I want it to look exactly like this. So that should be something like year, capital Y, dash M, and then dash percentage D. I think this should be right. So now I'll format today's date exactly like this, and then I'll compare it to all of the keys. And if it is in one of the keys, then we'll say, hey, yes, it's a holiday today. Okay, date today. So okay, so now if date today in holidays, then print, hey, it's it's what today, right? It's something today. So I'm going to use a F string here. It's what day today? It's holidays date today. So this will give me the actual name of the holiday, right? So let's say, imagine it is actually National Day today. Imagine today is National Day. So the date today will give us this. And then if we access this dictionary with this index, it will give us National Day, which is why it gives us National Day here. And I put it in curly braces. If I put it in curly braces, it allows me to show this value in the string. And of course, to do all that, I need to put an F in front. Okay? You can read about this as F strings in Python. You can Google about this as F strings. It's what today? Else, if not, then it's not a holiday today. It's not a holiday today. In fact, let me try to do something to generate an error. Okay, so now I'm gonna type in it's not a holiday today. First thing you see, right, is that the syntax highlighting now suddenly looks a bit strange. That should be your first alarm bell. And then if you run the code, it says now there's a syntax error, invalid syntax. Okay. So now we read the first line of the code, it says blah blah blah, it says line 16. This tells us, hey, it's on line 16, the error is on line 16, this is on line 16. Again, the syntax highlighting looks strange, so we need to keep that in mind. Next thing, we see syntax error, invalid syntax. Why is it telling us it's a grammar error here? Where is the grammar error here? It's saying that, so if we go read the whole line from left to right, it says print, okay, that's fine. Open parenthesis, that's fine. There's a single quote, that's fine. Then there's a single quote. And then suddenly this outside is not green anymore. It's different color from here. So now we can kind of guess, right? And here, if I hover here, it says invalid syntax here. Because everything here is no longer within the string. Everything here is no longer within the string. Which is why Python gets all confused. Right? Everything from S onwards on is not inside the string. The string closed when you use this this single quote here to close with this one. So what we need to do here is use double quotes. Double quotes. It's not a holiday today. Okay, so it's not a holiday today. Woohoo. Right. And then, cool. We will try and run this now. So it says 9 September 2020 is not a holiday today. It's not a holiday today. Right. How do we test that it's a holiday, that it works on an actual holiday? So what I can do is what could I do? Is I can add a holiday into holiday CSV for today's date. So today's date is 9/9. So I'll call it made up holiday. Alright. And then we run this again. And then it says, hey, 9 September 2020, it's made up holiday today, right? So now it works, right? Yeah, so that's how you can test that your program works. Of course, I have kind of digressed from the original topic, right? Which is to see how to fix errors and bugs. So, but I guess I did go through some errors and bugs as we were writing this program. Right. Hopefully this gives you an idea of Python programming. I did use some complicated concepts here, like df.iteros for underscore comma row. And this dictionary comprehension. But it's more important that you get the general idea of everything. If you want to learn more about any of these specific concepts, I can talk about them more in detail next time. Or you can just let me know and I'll talk about them more in detail. Alright, it's about 1:43. Let's continue on with a few more. Oh, right. AC has a question in the weekly live session. He says, hi Ishan, could you briefly provide an overview of functionality of VS Code? Interpreters, terminal, debug console, how it links to Python. Also seem to encounter an issue whenever a new folder is open. No Python interpreter is selected. You need to select a Python interpreter to enable functions. Blah blah blah. And you're not manually selecting interpreter every time. Is there a way to automate the link to an interpreter path? Thanks for your help and responsiveness. Okay, responding now. Okay, so interpreter terminal. Okay, so this is Visual Studio Code, right? What you have in front of you, what you see on your screen, on my screen at least, is Visual Studio Code. The best way to open Visual Studio Code, so the success of you using Visual Studio Code starts even before you open the program. Let's download Visual Studio Code again. Visual VS Code. Just type VS Code, you get the first thing. Redefined, code editing redefined. In fact, VS Code is such a game changer in the code editing landscape. So much better than what I was previously using, to be honest. And I think so much better than the competition, in my honest opinion. So it says we have Visual Studio Code running. Okay, let's close this. I accept the agreement. Okay, so now there are some options here. Okay, this is very, very important when you install Visual Studio Code. If you have already installed it, it's fine. You can just run the installer again and make sure you select these options. Add Open with Code action to Windows Explorer context menu. Of course, this will be different if you're on a Mac or Linux, but for Windows, this is how it works. Add Open with Code to Windows Explorer directory context menu. So these are very, very important. Okay. So when you do that, what will happen is that you want to go to you want to create a folder in Windows where you're going to work on your files or work on whatever project you're doing. If you're just playing around, you can create a playground folder like this and just create a playground, then work from there. So you right click onto your folder. Let's say you're already inside the folder, you can right click, open with code. Open with code. Now you have opened this folder as your project folder. I think that's the most important thing. You could also do this in another way. You can open folder like that, but the more direct way for me is just to right click, open with code. I really like that. If you're outside here, you can go right click, open with code also. Okay, open with code. So that's the first thing, how you open your files. How do you choose the interpreter? For Python, you can look at the bottom left. It says Python 3.8.5 32-bit. This is the current interpreter, the current version of Python that is being used by Visual Studio Code when it's going to run my Python files. Okay, so I'm going to click on it. I can change my interpreter. I have all these different Python versions installed. Just find your one that you want to use. If you have too many, you can delete older versions of Python. Yeah, if not, just click and figure out which one you want, and then I'll press escape to get rid of that. Main things, other main things in Visual Studio Code, it's just like Chrome, in that you have different tabs. You can open different files in different tabs. If I double click this, I can open this in this tab. If I double click this, it opens it in this tab. If I double click this, it opens it in this tab. I can click at the top to switch between different tabs. To close the tab, same as Google Chrome, hold Control, press W, you can close your tab. Hold Control, press W, close your tab. Okay. Let's say you want to work with CSV files. Yes, actually just now. Okay, CSV files. I want to work with CSV files. Oh no, I closed the message box. No, that's fine, it's fine. Let's not talk about that. So if I want to run my Python script, I can click. There's a few ways to do it. First way you can do it is to click on this play button right here. You can run your code. Run your code. Success. It's made up holiday today. Second thing you can do is to hold Control, press J. Hold Control, press J. It brings up this terminal at the bottom here. It brings up this area at the bottom. This area at the bottom also has tabs: problems, output, debug console, terminal. Terminal is really useful. Terminal is basically your shell. It's kind of like your it's like your CMD or your PowerShell. PowerShell is also like your CMD. Okay, so if you want to create a new shell, a new terminal, you click on the plus and change it from PowerShell to whatever you want. You change your CMD also, I believe. For example, see, my command prompt is here. I can click CMD, then it will, when I press plus, it will create a new CMD. Right. For me, I will just make my default as PowerShell. If you want to get rid of this terminal, you can just click the rubbish icon and kill the terminal. Okay. So now you're in your terminal. You can do whatever you can normally do inside your terminal, like run Python. You can run Python and I can type a equals 5, and then you can check the value of 5. Right? Check the value of a is 5. Lovely. And b equals to 10. A plus b gives you 15. Exit Python with exit, open and close parentheses. And then now we have that. And because you can run Python, you can also run Python together with your file name. Your file name will be whatever.py, right? So basic.py. And by doing that, you will actually run your script. Instead of, when you type Python, you will run the basic interpreter. You will run the interpreter, so you can type whatever, and then something will come back to you immediately, right? But if you do Python and your script name, it will run the script with Python. So here it runs the script with Python. Okay. Yes, so that's that. What else? That's really important. Okay, then there's extensions. Extensions. You can install themes with your extensions. I use the Cobalt 2 theme. Install other things like color highlight. So if you do ABC, DF, oh, actually it doesn't show it here. I'm not sure why it doesn't show it here. But yeah, different extensions will allow you to do different things. Rainbow brackets is one that I recommend. So it allows you to have different levels of brackets, and then you can see which brackets are linked to which other brackets. Because every bracket, right, has a matching closing bracket, right? So by having window brackets, you can have the matching parenthesis be the same color. So it's easier to see when you have like missing parentheses, missing brackets, and so on and so forth. Because sometimes you can have brackets inside of brackets inside of brackets, right? So it's a good thing to do. So how do you install these extensions? You can just click on the left side, extensions. You search your extensions, Marketplace, just install them. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. What else? What else? You were also mentioning interpreter, terminal, debug console, how it links to Python. Yep. So when you select your interpreter here, and then you click run file, so it will use this interpreter to run the file. Other things that it does, it uses this interpreter. I think it uses this interpreter to, when it's looking at passing your file for errors. For example, if I do, does that give an error? No. It says, for example, no. Sometimes it will give you errors. It will like immediately pass your code even before you run it, and give you the red squiggly lines to tell you there's errors. Yes, that's the interpreter. What else does the interpreter do? Generally, I like to just run my Python scripts like this. What other part of the question you mentioned? Whether a new folder is opened. Folder is open. Okay. Okay, under Visual Studio Code, there are a number of settings. Okay, so this might be one of the things you're talking about. So under File, Preferences, Settings. So settings here, you can, so if you want to get rid of this area at the bottom to have more screen space, again, you press Control J. Control J. So you can search settings, interpreter. Yeah, see, it says default interpreter path. Default interpreter path. So you can see path to Python. So now you can just change your path to your default interpreter. If somehow it keeps getting removed, keeps being unloaded for some reason, then you can do this. You can just paste it inside here in your settings. Within settings, there's actually multiple types of settings. There's user settings and general settings. Hopefully you don't need to get involved with too much of that for now at the start. Yeah. Then there's also like project settings. But anyway, you don't need to get into that too much at the start. Okay, other things which are really important in VS Code. When it allows you to do all the basic code editing stuff. When you press your single quote once, it gives you two single quotes and you're immediately typing inside it. Let's say you want to turn something into a string. You go to the start of the string or the end of the string, and then you highlight it. Then you just press your single quotes, and it will wrap the whole thing in single quotes. Other basic things that editors do, for example, when you want to move quickly across your code, hold Control, press right, press left. You can also look up Vim mode to move around your code faster. Some people swear by it. My previous boss swear by it. But I was never completely able to switch over to Vim mode. What else? Yeah, I think another thing that's really important is to use Control D. So let's say you select date time, you hold even once I select date time, immediately it says it shows, it also highlights all the other instances of date time. It highlights them, but it doesn't select them. If I want to select them, I have to hold Control press D. Control press D. You can see now I have multiple blinking bars. So all these are selected. If I type something now, it will replace all of them. Right. So this is one really awesome thing about VS Code. If I want to get some kind of IntelliSense, some kind of auto completion. Let's say I want to do read CSV, right? If I can't remember what's the name of the function. So I know it's pd.read something. Read. So now if I just type read, I hold Control press space. Right, hold Control press space, it will bring up all the different options. Read CSV, read blah 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 blah. Right, read Excel, blah blah blah. Is that an awesome thing about VS Code? What else is awesome about VS Code? Let's see. Yes, linting. Yeah, linting is like what I said just now. Lint.py, blah blah blah, def, blah blah blah. So now I saved this file. I haven't even run the file, but my VS Code has talked with my Python interpreter to lint the file. To lint the file is to hey, check it for errors, check for any problems, any any problems, even before you run it. So now I can see that there's this squiggly red line here. It says there's an error here. If I just highlight it, it shows me invalid syntax. Obviously, there's invalid syntax here, right? So I have to fix it. I know that I have to fix it. So that's linting, debugging. Okay. For debugging, there's actually multiple ways to do a debugging. There's actually support within VS Code to do a debugger, which is somewhere. This one, I think. Run and debug. But to be honest, I don't actually use this one. I should learn to use it more, but I don't actually use this. One of the things that I do use is IPy debugger, IPyDB. So for example, IPyDB. Is that right? I think you need to pip install IPyDB first. Didn't work. No, I can't install IPyDB. Let's just try to use PyDB. PDB, is it? It's PDB, right? Python debugger, and then how do I insert a breakpoint again with PDB? Insert breakpoint with PDB. Let me just show you a little bit about this. Set trace, yeah, this is the one. Okay, so let's say I'm here. I want to do this. Right, so I'm going to run this file. So as I run this file now, it says PDB. Okay, it says when I run the file, this is what a debugger does basically. When I run the file, basically before you run the file, you add a breakpoint. You can add a breakpoint or multiple breakpoints in your file, and the program will stop at these breakpoints. So it's like, you know, you watch the Magic School Bus when you were younger. You know, like how they will all sit into the Magic School Bus with the teacher. Then after that, they will shrink down really small. Then they'll go into the human body or whatever. So this is exactly what we're doing here. So when you create a breakpoint, you're basically going into your Magic School Bus and going into your program. You go into your program and see what's happening at each part of the program. So at this part of the program, we're going to stop and we're going to investigate what's going on. So here, for example, at this point in time, I have date today, blah blah blah. Okay, so before date today, I think. So we can check. Can I edit in read-only editor? So this is a read-only editor, so I cannot type stuff here. So I should just type it here. Okay, so here I can type. So now I want to check the value of holidays. So now see, I can immediately get the value of holidays here. The value of holidays. Yes. So if I like holidays at this point in the program, what is the value of it? And I can just check holidays 2020-11-14. It gives me Deepavali, you see. So I can go into the program and check what the different variables are at this point in time. If I press N, I believe. Yeah, if I press N, I can go to the next step in the program. Next step, to step through the different steps of the program one line at a time, like one step at a time. Yeah, to see what's going on. So that's that. Yes. It's right around 2:03 p.m. right now. So I guess today what we have done is we answered a few questions about data careers with Python. We've answered a few questions about using Python, about using VS Code, about doing Python debugging and reading error messages. And thanks for joining us today, and hope you guys have a lovely Wednesday afternoon ahead, whether you're working or not. So happy Wednesday, and I'll see you guys next time. If you have any questions, make sure to add them into the Google form. You can find the Google form on the Discord. And also, if you haven't joined the Discord, make sure you're joining the Discord. Thanks again, and this is Ishan signing out.